Welcome to Con with John. Map areas. There are multiple areas of the world maps that have distinct characteristics and are applicable to the World War III style maps, the Overkill maps, and the Rising Tides maps. I will summarize some of the characteristics of each area. Europe. This is where all the cities are. No matter where you and your friends start, fast growth and victory goes through Europe. Europe has a lot of 6 and 7 city nations, so strong players and coalitions try hard to get nations in Europe. Playing as a European nation gives you a high chance of being invaded by someone. It also means that you have a high chance of having an easy to get to neighbor that is easy to take out. Travel times are less, in some cases much less than other areas, and on a good day, you can gain lots of provinces and cities in a short amount of time. The downside is that on a bad day, you can quickly lose lots too. Focus on early defense and strong attack stacks. Early aggression is advised. At the same time, you have to leave a decent defense as well. A risky place to start with a potential for high rewards. Africa. Longer travel times than Europe with lower city density. Lots of 5 city nations. Downside, you'll have a smaller army and economy to start the game, and attacking neighbors is more time consuming than in Europe. Upside, your neighbors have the same issues, and stronger players don't prioritize Africa the way they do Europe. Aggressive players also gravitate towards Europe, not Africa, as Europe more richly rewards that style of play. A very strong strategy for an African coalition would be to invade Europe once Africa is controlled. However, the Saudi Arabian Peninsula is a decent target and leads to the Middle East and either north or east from there, or both, which is a decent place to expand. Middle East and western parts of Central Asia. Travel times are long, but there are a decent number of cities. Egypt, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Pakistan all have 6 or 7 cities, depending upon the map, and Afghanistan and Kazakhstan have 6. This is a nice cluster of nations that has the potential to shine. A very strong nation for any of these nations is to go towards Europe once regional power is established, especially since the other directions have far fewer rewards. Southern, Eastern, and Southeastern Asia. Travel times are so high. It is relatively hard to turn these nations into major powers. These nations are also very distant from the European cluster of cities. Coalitions here will grow much slower than a Europe-based coalition. Pacific Island nations. Travel times are slow, and all of these nations have the disadvantage that so many of their homeland cities are coastal cities, which are hard to defend. To the east, the Pacific Ocean cuts off one whole direction where nothing can be accomplished. South of Australia and New Zealand is nothing. North of Japan is nothing. And there are few cities in between. Travel time between island nations is long, so invasions are time consuming to execute, and entire stacks of units can be killed off by a single corvette in a random sea province. North America. Avoid too much territory with too few cities for some nations. 6 or less city nations that have all or almost all cities being coastal for others. 6 city island nations are tough to play. South America is your only good land border, and generally, South American coalitions are stronger than North American coalitions. South America, fun place to start. Brazil is an unpleasant nation to be or conquer, but the rest are very interesting. Once a coalition gains control of South America, the problems start. North America is mostly a wasteland with way too few cities and way too high travel times. The Pacific Ocean is huge with the same problem that the far eastern nations have, just in reverse. Getting a foothold in either Europe or Africa is not easy, but has to be tried. Naval power is hugely important, as so many South American cities are coastal cities, and so are most North American cities. Plus, a strong navy will be needed to assist in invasion of Africa or Europe. Note that Bolivia is the weakest of the 6 city nations that are landlocked. Okay, you can take over South America if you are strong and things go well, but then you need to build a navy in order to advance further. Annexing coastal cities and then building naval bases is not cheap. It is also time consuming. Other landlocked 6 cities nations can gain a lot more territory before having to deal with naval issues. One possible way for a solo Bolivia, or any South American coalition for that matter, to gain a foothold into Europe or Africa is to find an ally in one of the 2 continents, get ROW, right of way with that nation, and then fly units to an air base controlled by that nation. This wraps up this video. I hope that you like it, and also hope that you learn from it. Even if you use these strategies and tips against me, please like and subscribe.